So as we all know, Melbourne and the Mitchell Shire are now back into stage 3 restrictions. What that means for real estate, of course, is that we can no longer do open for inspections in the Melbourne and Mitchell Shire areas, nor can we do live auctions. If you're a resident of those restricted areas, it also means that you can't go into the non-restricted areas to inspect real estate at an open for inspection. For example, if you live in Melbourne and you're looking to buy a property in Geelong, you must do it by private appointment. Nor can you attend an auction in those areas. You must have someone bid for you or make other arrangements with the agent to bid online. Now, in the last few days, a lot of people have asked me what that means for real estate, how we're going to do real estate in the next few weeks and how we're going to cope. And I think there are 3 critical points I need to make. And first of all, we need to look back at March and April and see what happened during the initial shutdown. So back in March and April, when we were all learning how to work in a restricted environment, we were dealing with the massive changes that were being presented and quickly pivoting to new ways of doing business, there were still plenty of sales made during that time. In March, the Barry Plant Group sold 627 properties, which was then followed by 405 sales in April and 502 sales in May. And then in June, we sold 640 properties, which was more than we sold in June last year. So clearly, Victorians are getting on with the important business of buying and selling property, even during these difficult conditions. The second point I want to make is that we need to look at the auction clearance rates, particularly over the last couple of weeks since we went back into the second lockdown. On the first weekend, Saturday, July the 11th, the REIV reported an 88% clearance rate, whilst on the same day, across the Barry Plant network, we had an incredible clearance rate of 100%. Then, on the weekend of the 18th of July, the REIV again reported a very strong clearance rate of 81%, whilst across the Barry Plant Group, we had another great weekend with an 87% clearance rate. So as you can see, over the last couple of weeks, the auction clearance rate is as strong or even stronger than it's been all year. And that brings me to my third point, and that is that we're not just selling properties, but we're selling properties for some really good prices. Let me give you some quick examples. In Box Hill North, we held an online auction that had 22 registered bidders, 12 actual bidders during the auction, 188 people viewing the auction online, and the auction went for an incredible 1 hour and 20 minutes. The price range during the campaign was $880,000 to $950,000, and the reserve was set at $950,000, and the opening bid was at $950,000, and it finally sold for $1.321 million, which was $371,000 above the reserve. Up in Mill Park, we had another online auction for a home that is very representative of the area, where we had 8 registered bidders and then 3 actual bidders on the day, and with price expectations of up to $600,000 after a flurry of $500 bids towards the end of the auction, it was finally sold for $631,000, some $31,000 above the reserve. So as you can see, high auction clearance rates, a high number of sales, and some really great individual results all tell me that while stage 3 lockdown is far from ideal, we can still achieve some really great results for anyone looking to sell during this time. And don't forget that if you are selling, ask your Barry Plant representative how we can include your property in the country's largest selling property lift out, the Saturday Herald Sun, for only $75 plus GST.